Are we in? Are we out? And when do we shake it all about? Birmingham Wolves have done the hokey cokey and are in the process of turning around. Who will be next? Paul, maybe? The thing is, I can't really criticise them. Only in Pandemic Speedway. Hello gentlemen and hello everybody, welcome to the Speedway Tavern. We have in the studio tonight, we have got Mr. Chris. I'm not at the bottom of the table, Webby Brown.
Good evening.
We have Matt.
Not a shock really, is it?
We have Matt. I'm not at the bottom of the league table, Buck.
Good evening.
And we have myself, Michael, GA, and the strongest man in the room because he's holding everybody else up. I'm not happy. It's not been a good week.
It hasn't, has it?
No.
Pretty sad.
So, yeah, obviously the big news this week has been Birmingham. I sort of want to say pulling the plug, but of course they haven't pulled the plug. They've just sort of postponed, put things on hold. Wolverhampton have done a similar thing. Which was announced yesterday, and Paul have been making similar sounds. Mm-hmm. It's not great, is it?
No, I think Paul obviously Paul's next two matches were against Birmingham, weren't they? So that's obviously
it's helped them out
on that sense. I think really the first signs of trouble was last Wednesday, wasn't it? When my phone pinged during the Birmingham Glasgow meeting, obviously with the statement that CVS had released. So obviously about severe losses. Obviously I don't want to go into any details. The figures that I've heard quoted, I don't know whether they're true or not, are pretty horrific, to be honest. And when I was in last Tuesday, I hadn't seen any of the footage from the Eurosport meeting, but I saw some photographs taken of the crowd of that, and I was astonished at how small the crowd looked. Clearly, I think from Chris's perspective, I get the impression that he's doing it to try and put pressure on
the council
to let him have more.
He's
people.
Almost openly said that.
Well, I mean, although there has been a statement released in the last hour with another update to say that he has had positive talks with the council, so we'll see what happens with that. I think that's going to be the reliance, to be honest, because who's to say how long this extension is going to last, whether it'll be 4 weeks or whether they may end up pushing it back even further.
I don't think they'll be pushing it back any further. That's my sense of it.
I think if they can get away with that without doing it, they will, but who knows. But then obviously was it Saturday, the announcement that Birmingham had suspended the season until July the 1st. I think whether that'll be pushed back now, obviously, with July the 19th now.
Can't be pushed back too much and for us to, I mean...
Can they still get all the matches in?
I think possibly, yeah, but, you gotta hope you don't get rain-offs and all of that. I think possibly. I mean, this is all supposition, but I think we're probably out of the knockout cup now.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. The good thing about that, I need to say actually, is that there's been a lot of speculation on the BSF, shall we say, about they've lost their money then for those matches, and talking about the people that have brought tickets online. My understanding is that all that money has been returned. Yeah. And the ticket company whose name I forgot have just automatically done that, and with minimum of fuss. So, there you go. But Speedway fans always like to.
It was always going to be a risk, wasn't it? Knowing knowing that you were going to be running with reduced crowds.
Well, when you look at, Paul have said they've been struggling, and they're allowed a crowd of, I think it's 1,250, something like that. It's that sort of number. It was over 1,000 anyway. It's on their website. And we're allowed 750 in the stadium, and I think Wolves is a little bit more than that, is it?
Wolves is about 780, I think.
Right.
But it's considerably lower than what a normal crowd would be.
So it's and if Paul are struggling.
Yeah. There looked to be quite a few in Peterborough last night, I noticed. And I think it depends on the local council, doesn't it?
They've left it to the council to make these decisions. So so hopefully, I imagine, I do believe that, and again, like yourself, this is just supposition, but I do believe that the Birmingham statement is a little bit about talking to the council, particularly about letting people pay on the gate. Incidentally, in our regular Mark Robinson is a twat spot.
Start off with a bit of controversy.
Why not?
Yeah, well, yeah. What we got to lose now?
Birmingham did not break the law by letting people pay on the gate on the first Wednesday. We was given permission to do that by Birmingham City Council. So there you go. If anybody else wants to add to that segment, feel welcome.
Oh dear, oh dear. We could be off air in a bit.
I'm waiting for the door to bang in a minute.
I know, he has actually been in the studio, hasn't he?
He has been in the studio,
yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. Craig says the government don't recognise Speedway as a professional sport, so won't offer the financial support they need to.
It's not true. It's not. I'm sorry, but that's not true. They do recognise this as a professional sport. We have been named one of the elite sports. That's why we're allowed to have Paco Castagna coming across and not having to quarantine and Valentina Grobbo and all the rest of it. So that's not actually true. And I know that cash was made available to elite sports. Whether we have, as a BSPL, have applied for that, I don't know, and whether us as Birmingham have applied to get some of this cash, but you got to remember it's only a loan. Mm-hmm. It has to be paid back.
Yeah.
So
it's not a grant.
No.
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
So there you go.
Has there been any thought about putting the attendance prices up, putting the admission prices up in the opening weeks of the season?
Not that I've heard of.
You do wonder whether some of these clubs might have been tempted to do that, to be honest, with fewer numbers in.
I don't know. You would have to ask somebody that knows what they're talking about. That's not me. Talking about people that know what they're talking about. No, I'm not going to do that section again. No.
Talking about me, aren't you?
Never. I'm talking about our listener.
Okay.
I want to invite our listener to take part. How can they do that, Chris?
Well, they can go. They can find us on Facebook. They can find us on YouTube. And they can find us on Twitter. If they want to come on the show, just message me and I'll phone you back and it won't cost you a penny. Or you can come on Zoom. It also won't cost you a penny.
Will it cost us a penny?
It'll cost you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just a penny?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, just about manage
Old
that.
English
That'll
penny.
be more than I normally get out of you.
Yeah. This is true. Have we got any comments?
We never sold our allocation. I'm not sure it's feasible, to be honest, as sad as it is, says Anthony Bailey.
I presume he's talking about Birmingham there. I don't know where he gets that information from, because I haven't got that information. I think we did sell we certainly sold our allocation on the first Wednesday, and a lot of that was down to
Bang on the gate.
people paying on the gate.
Well, I know that Wolves have had at least 2 sellouts. Ipswich was definitely a sellout, and I think the opening meeting, it does seem quite right that the 2 clubs that had disastrous opening nights have now suspended their season, doesn't it? So.
And your father has completely disagreed with you. He says increasing admission prices would definitely be counterproductive at this time.
Well, to be fair to Matt, and I don't know why I'm doing that, but to be fair to Matt, he didn't say it as a suggestion. He wondered whether
they might do it.
Okay,
whether
They might have been tempted to do it, to be honest.
Can I just read out Andrew Nelson's comment?
It says, down the road at Edgbaston, it was nearly a full house for the cricket with a load of drunks and no social distancing. Why is this the case?
Well, because this is one of the government's experiments, I suppose.
Does it go by the capacity of the stadium?
It does go by the capacity of the stadium, but this is also one of the government's sort of tryouts to see, if it's okay. And so I don't actually think council as such have got jurisdiction over that. I am totally expecting somebody to tell me I'm wrong.
I think Ipswich's current limit is 2,000, but
Right.
Vauxhall is a 10,000 capacity,
Right.
which surprises me, to be honest. But I know they've done a lot of work though over there in the last few years. But
Well, they made it bigger.
yeah,
Well, they made the track
well,
smaller.
obviously,
that's probably
10,000 is quite a big number for a speedway track in this country, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
it is.
um,
Don't think the National Stadium has that, does it?
I don't think it. Oh,
Is
might
it?
just about
Yeah.
slightly more, maybe.
Okay. So, yeah, it's a problem.
And to add further doom and gloom, the red car promoters quit today. On the bright side, what a meeting last night on a super race track, said Simon Corbett.
Right. We got any? Well, we'll do some searching for that one in a minute. Have we got any news on why has he quit? Good
Let's
red
see
car. I
what-
mean, they
let's
just
see
beat
what
they
we
just
can
beat
see.
Glasgow, the first team to do so.
Yeah.
We've got super fingers working on that to find out a bit more.
So Speedway's in quite a sorry state, isn't it, at the moment? And there was so much optimism before the season
Yeah.
started. What's gone wrong?
I don't think it's just Speedway.
No.
You know,
no.
let's be fair. I mean, I would imagine even in football, the lower league
Yeah,
clubs are
yeah.
suffering.
Yeah, but of all the sports, Speedway seems to be suffering more than.
I think really the issue is Speedway is very largely dependent on admission through the gates, and it's not getting it at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's good. Well, it's getting them, but nowhere near enough to sustain it.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine things like in this country anyway, ice hockey would
Yeah.
be struggling. I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
Again, for the same reasons, because they're very dependent. This is one of the problems that, I mean, going back to our sort of isn't the BSPL rubbish conversations that we have
Yeah.
occasionally. Why have we not got a major sponsor for each of the leagues? Other sports seem to be able to do it.
I'm trying.
We have done it.
They have done it. I'm trying to think. The last time the British League had a sponsor,
Is
the
this
top
something
league.
they do normally do then? They don't normally have.
I don't think. Well, no, we haven't had. We have previously had. I can
Yeah.
remember when we was the Sunbright League, for instance.
Home file league and was
Yeah.
in the late 80s, early 90s. But
Why
that's,
isn't there?
Well, that's a good question.
Wow, strange.
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I can think of lots of answers, but I'm just guessing in a vacuum as ever. But yeah, that would help. Bellevue holds a maximum 6,000
6,000.
people without putting up temporary stands.
okay.
I thought it was a lot more than that.
I thought it was more than that, to be honest.
That's not that much.
No, it ain't.
Yeah. Be nice to see 6,000 in there.
Well, I think the promoter should snap your under for a 6,000 crowd, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. And Dave Twice, there is an all-parliamentary group for motorcycle speedway.
Does that still exist?
Apparently so.
It's still
Apparently
up there.
so.
It's still up there.
Well, let's just move a little bit away from the doom and gloom for a little bit
Okay.
and talk about last week's match at Birmingham. Was not a bad
It was a very good meeting.
racing,
I
was
think
Yeah.
it was a good effort by Birmingham, but Glasgow, very. They were never going to lose that meeting. I mean, obviously, it was a late rally towards the end, but you always felt Glasgow would just have enough in the bag. It would have been interesting if Ashley Morris had stayed on
Yes.
in the last heat, but no, it was a good meeting. Paco Castagne rode very well. He had a great race, riding his first heat, almost getting
Yeah,
the
he
better
hadn't
of
made
Craig
one
Yeah.
little mistake on the last corner. He would have. But Speedway's all lifts and bits.
Yeah, but it was a good meeting. I did enjoy it, but I think it was, as I say, Glasgow. They look the pick of the sides so far this season.
At the moment, yeah. They
Yeah.
might be the only ones left by the end of the season. So, I mean, we should... No, we're not going to talk about that at the moment. But, I mean, just from the point of view of the track, it was 200% better.
Yeah, it was a much better track. They'd obviously done a lot of work on it over the previous week.
Well, the previous 2 days, I think, was
Yeah.
when the work had been done on it.
Yeah, they had to get that right, though. They couldn't afford for that to be a problem again
No,
after the week
absolutely
before.
not.
And I think the fair play to the staff. They did a very, very good job in difficult conditions as well with the heat and So it was a good meeting.
I mean, would be nice for Chris Harris to come out and win Heat 1.
Well, he did the week before. Did he win? Did he win the week before? I think he did, didn't he?
I think against Redcar, but that meeting didn't happen. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to be. I mean, I did come away from that meeting surprisingly, even though we lost, feeling quite good.
Yeah.
Because it had been a good meeting, and I can see promise within the team. You can see that Ash is not far off rediscovering the form he had
Eric
when he
was
was injured.
was much better than he'd been the week before against Redcar.
Yeah. Can't say anything about Valentine.
And Jack Thomas did as well. Jack Thomas, I thought, was impressive.
Yeah.
2 Heat wins and 2 last places.
When he gates, he's fast.
He is fast, yeah.
I mean that is great sort of pairing.
Yeah, the only ordeal really last week was getting into the stadium in the first place, getting through all the traffic. It was
horrendous. It took me an hour to get.
Who's decided it would be a good idea to take that flyover down?
So what happens then? You've got to walk all the way to the.
No, I'm talking. This is traffic.
No, right, okay. But if you park, I'm guessing the main car park is still Perry Bar.
Yep.
The shopping centre.
Yes, you can park there.
So.
But the traffic there was like a mile tailback.
Mad.
It took me an hour to do the last sort of 300 yards or something stupid.
It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
It wasn't. It was
Bless our wonderful.
But I understand there was a problem from the motorway, and that a lot of people being redirected off the motorway. So I think that might have had something to do with why it was so much worse than it was the week before.
The kids were back at school, weren't they, as well, which might have.
At 6 o'clock.
Half term, people will be on holidays, remember? So.
Yeah, there is that.
Can I just remind people that our wonderful league predictions game is on later?
Can we just drop the word wonderful?
I'm dying to show people who's on the bottom. Okay. And for a change.
I think you're all cheating. I came so close to getting that 45-45 draw at Birmingham last week. So close. And
also a reminder, you can still join in.
Yeah.
Yes, please join in. Talking of which, this one's for you. Paul Morris has said, can anyone here tell me why Eurosports is showing Wolves 3 meetings on the trot? How about showing some other clubs?
Well, there aren't that many other clubs in the league to show, to be honest.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it was a really, really enjoyable meeting last night. Wolves just carrying too many riders, to be honest. Really, only Luke Becker and Ryan Douglas really performed to their best level. Peterborough, I mean, a lot of people were writing Peterborough off at the start of the season, but
I don't think we gave them much of a chance. To be fair, did we?
I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be in and around the top 4, but they've obviously got a very good team spirit, and with all the experience they've got.
I mean, Bjarne Pedersen rolling back the years. That's very difficult for a Birmingham Speedway fan to say. By the way,
He never did that. He never did that in 2012, did he?
No, he didn't. But then again, Chris Harris didn't in 2013 to an extent. Although we won the league that year,
There could be more people in our league than there is in the top league.
There is more. There is
yeah,
quite a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. There is.
Do we think Speedway across the board will delay the season, or will it be down to individual clubs whether they choose to delay or not? Doesn't seem black and white. Well, does it ever?
I think it depends on how many each of these clubs are allowed into the stadium, to be honest. As I say, Peterborough looked like it was a pretty good crowd last night. I don't know what the limit is that they've got. Obviously, it's a larger capacity stadium than
it's a bigger stadium.
Than Monmore
lots of wide open spaces as well.
So yeah, Bellevue as well. Obviously, is a much bigger stadium. Ipswich, as I said, is a much bigger stadium as well. So it's. I think, as I've already said, I think that statement that Chris Van Straten released last week was largely to try and put some pressure on the councils to say I don't think he's 4 minutes. He's not saying let me open the doors and let everybody in. They're not going to do that. I've seen a few people on the BSF who've been saying that he should break the rules and let everybody in, but I think
that would be suicide,
whether these people are willing to contact him and tell him that they'll pay the fine when he does it. And,
or take his prison sentence. Yeah, that would be suicide. Somebody talking about grabber here. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I'll just keep going. Grabber.
Grabber.
That's his new nickname from now on.
I think it's Bauer, isn't it? Grabauer.
I don't know.
Okay.
But Ian Faultless has, and he must be right with a surname like that, has seen him twice in the Polish league, said it doesn't fill me with confidence. Is he worth the expense of bringing over?
well, is he based in the UK?
I don't think he is. I think Eric Riss is.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Eric Riss is based in Kings Lynn.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
You don't know much, do you, tonight?
I've seen the league table.
Once again,
Well, I haven't. I've seen him race 2 races.
Yeah.
I can't on a pretty rough track.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make any sort of judgments on that. He's got a 5-point average. He got it at Somerset. He's got to be worth that 5-point average, you would hope, in a slightly weakened league.
Yeah, you thought so.
So I don't know. We'll find out, as I say. I know that Lawrence is thinks he's going to do well. I remember seeing him riding for
He was
Somerset.
quite solid for Somerset, wasn't he, in 2019?
Yeah. He rode our track well. I had a good meeting, if I remember right, at Perry Bar. So, would you like to read Paul Morris's?
Paul says, bring back Friday and Saturday night meetings. I'm not bothered if I miss the GP. I want to see crowds back at Speedway.
Lovely idea in theory, isn't it? But
Yeah.
practicality.
Yeah, well, we couldn't do it at Birmingham.
I don't think Wolves could do it, to be honest.
Couldn't do it. I don't know about Paul. I don't know what their situation is. I think they've got greyhounds, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I'm thinking about the top league now. Leicester. I mean, it's probably easy to think of the teams that could do it.
Leicester could do it, yeah.
Redcar.
Redcar Thursdays, aren't they?
Yeah.
So without knowing what the use of the stadium is for one of the nights of the week, it's difficult to say, isn't it? But
I wouldn't think Peterborough could do it.
I think Peterborough are limited how often they can use the showground, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Craig says there are only 6 teams in the league. They're trying to go to different tracks. Who else can Eurosport show? I suppose that's in reference to what we were talking about.
Well, there's another 5 teams, of course.
Yeah.
It would have been nice, actually, if they could have extended it to Championship coverage, to be honest, as well. And obviously they did talk about the situation at Birmingham last night on Eurosport, so
right. But the Premiership wouldn't want to share any of the revenue.
possibly not. No,
So,
cynical man.
It's what we've always spoke about, isn't it? That there needs to be somebody at the top, a person, a figurehead, somebody with the power where the buck stops.
Yeah, I mean there weren't that many second tier matches shown on Sky, I don't think, were there? I know they came to Perry Bar the first season on one of the wettest nights I've ever been to a Speedway meetings, but
I see Lawrence Rogers has come in with a little answer about Valentine, would you?
Yeah, Valentine is in the UK when he's not back in Germany, and he pays his own way, not the club.
There you go then.
there you go.
Can't say fairer than that.
Just an observation, but if somebody outside of the world of Speedway would think that there's a massive disunity in the sport. Is that right?
To a degree, I think there is.
Nobody seems to be pulling in the same direction.
Let me ask you a question then.
Please do.
If a train was travelling now,
I thought he was going to ask me something about Pythagoras.
is that not the same in football? To an extent. I mean, we've just had a situation in football where the top clubs have turned around and said we're going to start our own.
Oh
league.
yeah.
That sounds like it's only the fans that stopped it. That sounds like a massive disunity to me.
Yeah, but it seems as though Speedway has always had this
If they decided to do something like that in Speedway, would the fans be able to stop something like that? Not convinced they would.
Well, no, because it wouldn't.
There's no fan power, is there? Really?
There isn't. it wouldn't be mentioned in Parliament. It wouldn't, it'd be like Speedway. What's that? It is a secret sport, as my son always says. But that you have to play with the cards that you've got. That's all you can do.
Greg said it probably wouldn't make the slightest bit of difference. People would probably watch the GPs. Well, I don't know, would they?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. If I had the choice between going to watch a team match, and watching the GPs, I'd go and watch a team match every time. I actually find the GPs quite long-winded and boring.
Well, there's some good racing in the GPs, to be honest.
Yes, there is some good racing, but there's also some dross, and it takes such a long time,
I don't know about that. They do get through the GPs fairly quickly, I think.
They do go through them fairly quickly, but there's a lot of heats to go through.
Absolutely.
So it takes a long time, and it just does. And you don't you don't get to the sharp end until you get to the semi-finals anyway.
Yeah.
So but that's just a personal view. I'd watch Team Speedway any day over.
I would, to be honest.
Yeah.
Teams racing is for me is more enjoyable than individuals.
And Craig Smee's going on about Peterborough.
Oh, yeah.
Wake up.
When I went to Peterborough, there was no track and trace, probably because it's the middle of a field and predominantly outside. They probably don't have too much restrictions with their crowd either.
We'll do a quick straw poll here. It's the track and trace at Wolverhampton.
Do you know what? That's one thing that surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there would be.
I don't think there's any at Birmingham either.
No.
Well, you can dance that because you go in through presume you go in the same way as the paying punters, do you? Or you go on the special car park.
No, because I went for reruns, didn't I? So I'm But no, there definitely isn't any at Wolves. I mean, I pay my money to get into Wolves. There's no track and trace there.
But what he says about Peterborough's in the middle of a field is absolutely spot on. And so I don't imagine they have got much in the way of restrictions.
But at Perry Bar, you have to go through the concourse, don't you, really, to...
You have to go into the main building, yeah. Wolverhampton, you don't, do you?
No, because Wolverhampton, you go through the turnstiles and there's an open concourse out in the open. Birmingham, obviously, it's quite cramped at Birmingham in that sense, isn't it? Because you go through those double doors and then you've got the track shop, you've got the bar, you've got the rerun table where they sell all the DVDs, and all that in that area. And it is quite cluttered, to be honest, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Some great comments tonight. Thanks to everybody for joining in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've got nothing to talk about.
Did you see Doyle's statements regarding Somerset? He said if it wasn't for their professionalism and support during his injuries, he'd have walked away from the sport. Such a shame they've gone.
Amen to that.
Yeah, definitely. It was a real shame. I had 2 visits to Somerset and I thoroughly enjoyed them both.
I've been there a few times, had some great...
Yeah, some great racing there. It's a lovely part of the country as well. It's only a short trip from the coast. So
a very friendly, welcoming club. It is a shame, but as it's a shame that Coventry's gone and etc., 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 etc.
I'm wondering how many clubs would it have to get down to before people say, okay, guys, that's it.
One.
Well, no, yeah, I suppose, yeah. I was trying to be realistic.
You just got to hope that...
Because it's such it's dwindling, isn't it?
Yeah, you've just got to hope that at some point... I mean, we've been here before. Speedway has been here before. You just got to hope that something happens and it...
Not just in recent years either. It's been here in the past as well.
Yeah,
but does it really recover? Does it, or does it just take off where it left off? There doesn't seem to be any step.
Well, it's recovered previously.
I mean, is there a step? Is it stepping up though? It's not, is it?
It's difficult at the moment, isn't it? I mean, with all this pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's difficult to do anything because it's a moving playing field all the time, moving goalposts even. You know where I was going, mixing the metaphors.
Moving bikes.
That's wow.
Greyhound racing has ceased at Poole Speedway is now the only activity being staged at Wimborne.
Am I right
Road.
in saying that Poole Stadium is a COVID test centre as well?
I think that was something that I think they mentioned that on that statement. That sort of surprised.
Yeah. Doesn't give a very. I mean, you think at the start, before the start of the season, the BSBL were very vocal about how we're ready to restart or not, but it doesn't. It gives the impression that they probably weren't as ready as they thought they were. To be honest, I mean, 2 clubs have already suspended their season. You've had Poole obviously having problems as well.
In Birmingham's defence,
Yeah.
because I know a little bit about what that before the season even started, we had that flipping break-in and so that's just cost loads and loads. The things that the council put in place that we had to get done in the stadium were not small things, and again I know that because I've been down there helping them do some of this stuff. Even the Saturday before the last Wednesday, the Sunday before the last Wednesday, I was down there. And that's not a criticism of the council. I understand why all these things are in place, etc., but it's still extra stuff and having to buy new machinery, well, new to us, new Bowser, new tractors, all of that, and do that with these restrictions on the numbers coming in. It's almost like and then what happened with the first week with the track as well. It's a perfect storm, isn't it?
You're trying to keep all the plates spinning, really, aren't you?
Yeah,
So,
exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly right. Before we carry on with the discussion on the shout box and so on, we should mention good luck to Tom Bacon.
absolutely. Yeah, I was going to bring us around to this subject. Tom's obviously made the decision to retire from Speedway. He'd had a really tough start to the season. Obviously, we both know Tom well, having watched him at Birmingham for several years, and Tom's always been a rider that's really been all about his starting, and he wasn't making starts.
Yeah, he did add to his repertoire coming from the back in the past couple of years, but he's not. I saw him ride on the television, and there was no confidence there at all in his racing.
No, he's had some bad injuries as well, hasn't he?
He's had some horrible injuries.
I wish him all. We both know Tommy's a smashing fella as well. He's a really nice guy. Tommy's.
He's one of. He was and was always the consummate professional, and I think he's made the decision that's right for him. And good luck to you, mate. Good luck to you.
Yeah, hopefully, it's not the end, and he might have a change of heart somewhere down the line. But I think a lot of things will probably have to change for him to do that. To be honest, Steve. But it's another young British rider that looks lost to the sport. We've had too many of them in the last few years, for my liking.
Yeah, and then you've got people like Adam Roynan who's just not going to give up.
Yeah,
he's injured again.
I think there comes a time with Adam where he's got to maybe think about himself, and just he can't really afford to take too many more knocks. To be honest,
I'm not sure he could have afforded to take the last 7.
Yeah,
but yeah, again, Adam's a lovely chap. And we wish him all the best.
Who are some of the oldest riders now at this present moment?
Chris Harris.
Well, most of them are at Peterborough, aren't they? So.
Most of them are Chris Harris.
Yeah.
Is there anybody older than Chris at the moment? Come on,
Scott Nichols.
Obviously,
Scott Old Gostigard, who's had a great start of the season, by the way.
Oh, he was he was right on the pace at
when I spoke to him before the meeting at Perry Bar last Wednesday, and he was. The last time I'd seen him was, I think, his last meeting before he lost his place at Birmingham last year, and he was really on the floor. To be honest, I think he just felt like he was at a loss, but he had a good end to 2019, and this season he's been superb so far.
Absolutely. Maybe the year out to get over his injuries.
Yeah, and he's been an absolute trump card for Peterborough at reserve.
Well, a lot of people have, when they saw him, it was both for Redcar and for Peterborough, were going, really?
Yeah.
But it's proved everybody. And another really great guy.
Interesting though, you've had Ulrich Gostigard who's had a great start to the season. Scott Nichols has had a very good start to the season as well. Didn't ride quite so well last night. Chris Harris has had a good start to the season, so,
the experienced
riders maybe having a year out has
And maybe the experience means that having the year out doesn't affect them as maybe as a rider that possibly needs to keep riding to get that experience.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Who knows? But then Anders Rowe is another one. Not experienced, but he kept racing last year.
Yeah, I think that's helped him as well. Definitely.
Yeah, there you go. Right, have we got any more comments?
Okay, in reply to Brian, Craig comes back with, surely Speedway can't run on its own there. Would need dogs or stocks, or I think it'll be the next one to close.
Well, let's hope not.
Well, to be honest, the dogs at most of these tracks don't get particularly good crowds, do they? Because it's all done online.
It's all done online, and they don't put to the Speedway.
Yeah.
This is the problem with Speedway. We're a borrowed sport. We borrow our tracks, and when the sport was so massive in the 50s and 60s, maybe they should have been in the 40s. Maybe they should have brought their own stadiums.
Yeah, I've always said the biggest missed opportunity the sport's had in my lifetime was when Sky first got involved in '99, because they had a huge windfall. Yeah, really, and that part of that money should have been set aside to sort of put down some routes, but unfortunately, it went down to it went to the riders. Unfortunately, so.
Talking of tracks that have closed, which we sort of was, it's interesting news. Oxford.
Yep.
The stadium's reopening for
news
greyhounds.
That's broke in the last couple of hours. I think that Oxford reopening for dogs. Whether it's next year, I don't know. Or whether it's this year, I suspect it's more likely to be next year. But
the possible opportunity there.
Yeah, it'd be great to have Oxford back. You know, there was a fantastic club. You know, when I started watching Speedway, they were the dominant force. You know, with the likes of Hans Nielsen and Andy Graham and Simon Wigg, God rest his soul, riding for them. So yeah, I never went to Oxford, but obviously I saw a few meetings there on the TV. A good racetrack, and you know, it's a big city as well. You know, it'd be great to have Speedway back.
Wasn't
in the
it
big
Oxford
city.
had that weird situation where the starting line and the finishing line were in different places?
It was Wimbledon, wasn't it?
I think Oxford did it as well in the last
I
couple of seasons.
know Wimbledon was, I wasn't sure whether Oxford did.
Somebody will tell me whether I'm right or wrong. I'm usually wrong, as we know.
Yeah, just look at the league table. So.
Talking of which, I suppose we ought to start looking at
that.
that.
He's put it off for long enough now,
Yeah,
isn't he?
we've... there's another meeting to go on that, isn't there, which is running now.
Yes, down at Kent. I shall have a look. So those scores will be added on to... I've still got them on my phone. Otherwise I'll have to go back through the feed and find them. So.
Before then, shall I give out last? Shall I put the tables up?
Put the tables up.
Okay. So,
focus on the bottom, will you?
Hey, stop looking at my bottom.
Here we go. So at the top we've got Simon Corbett, followed by John Bird, Matt Buck, Craig Smee, Dave Twine, Chris Brown, and Mike Harris at the bottom.
Who's Mike Harris, by the way?
49-41 to Kent, by the way. That's the final score.
49-41.
So Scott Nichols 11-2, Paul Hurry failed to score, Paul Stark 8-1, Steve Worrell was riding as a guest for Kingsley 14-2, Ben Morley 11-2, Dan Jilks 5, and for Plymouth, Danny King 12, Stephen Jorred 2-1, Zach Cook 5, Dylan Rummel 1, Bjarne Pedersen 8, Alfie Bertos 7-3, Leon Flint guesting scored 6. Leon Flint rode well last night at Peterborough. He was certainly on the pace, riding as a guest. So, and he's had a good start to the season as well, Leon. So
another great. I think he's there's potential in that kid.
Yeah, it was very close all the way through this one. It was only really the last couple of heats.
We sort of picked Kent to do quite well this year, didn't we?
Yeah, Kent got a 4-2 and a 5-1 in the last two races. Before that, they were 2 points up. So
right.
Just quickly before we go on to that, Paul Morris says regarding GPs and league, he says, record the GP, go and support your local team. Spot on.
Can't say fairer than that.
Always an answer.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah. So we need to push on with our predictions then.
Yes. Right, let's see if we can get through this a little bit.
How many matches have we got anyway?
Well, we won't do the GP qualifier, so... Not as many as last week, because there's no Wolves meetings and no Birmingham meetings.
No, that's very true, yeah.
Okay, so the first meeting we have is on the 17th. So that's Kings Lynn versus Sheffield in the Premiership.
Right, okay, so
Kings Lynn,
I'm not going first.
am I going first?
You're going first, okay.
Okay, I'm going to say 10-point win to Sheffield.
Okay, and can we say on the shout box, please give us your
Oh, yes.
predictions.
Yes, and you will, even if you didn't take part last week,
Yeah.
look at my scores, you'll know that there is
Yeah,
plenty
yeah,
of...
There's plenty of scope
Yeah,
to leapfrog people. So
You could catch the top spot. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I think go on, Matt.
ooh,
Oh, going that way around this time.
yeah, that's a difficult one to call because obviously Kings had a terrible start of the season, didn't they? But they obviously won at Ipswich last week, didn't they? So I'll go. I think Sheffield will win, but I think it'll be close. I'll go 43-47 to Sheffield.
Okay, then I'll go. Shall I go? 53-37, Sheffield.
53-37.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See why
Okay.
he's one from bottom. So
I've got nothing to lose.
Next one, literally. On the 19th, we have. I've got to find it now. Leicester versus Redcar. That might be an interesting match. So to you, Matt.
Leicester by 10, 50-40.
Ooh, could that be a draw, do you think? Oh, I'm going to go for a draw. 45-45.
Yeah, it doesn't work, mate. I've tried it last week.
Oh, come on. You should get an extra point if you get a draw.
I think Leicester win, but I think it's going to be 4-point win.
47-43 then.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody else put your scores up and obviously we'll collect them over the
So yeah,
week.
shove your scores up on the stuff coming up.
There's quite a few up there. There's quite a few comments we haven't
Oh,
got
okay.
as well.
Well,
Yeah.
we will try and get to
Yeah, we will do.
Yeah.
to comments. So let's whiz through this. Scunthorpe versus Glasgow. That's up to you, Chris.
Scunthorpe versus Glasgow. I'll go for a Glasgow win. 49-41.
12-point win to Glasgow.
I'll go 14-point win. 38-52.
Okay.
Scunthorpe fans are going to love us anyway.
Well, we've got,
And
we,
just
we've
to
got
give
a
you-
few things
yeah.
coming up. Yeah, go on.
Just to give you an idea how the scores are going, prediction-wise. Elliot's gone for Kings Lynn 42 v Sheffield 48. Craig's gone away, Sheffield 50-40.
Yeah.
Kings Lynn 46-44, says Dave Twine. Simon says 42, Chef 48. There we go, there's quite a few coming in. So
Score, by the way, if anybody's joining for the first time, the scoring system is 2 points for if you get the score right, 1 point if you get the result right. Nothing, obviously, if you get nothing.
Okay, Mildenhall versus Eastbourne on the 20th. This is down to me, isn't it? Can I predict a rain-off?
I thought you were going to say, can I predict it right then?
can I pick the right here? I wish you'd have that as a theme tune to this.
I'm going to say a 6-point win to Eastbourne.
Oh,
It's Matt's go, so you be quiet.
okay. Don't get excited.
I'll go 2-point win to Eastbourne, 44-46.
Okay.
I'm going 49-41
Two?
to Eastbourne.
Eastbourne.
And another NDL match on the same day. Newcastle versus Leicester. 4-point win to Leicester.
I'll go.
You wait for Matt to
I'll
have
wait
his
for-
guess,
I'll go wait
so you
for
can
Matt.
so you can copy one of us.
That's
Then
it, yeah. I'll go wait. No, I'm not going to copy nobody.
I'll go 10-point win to Leicester.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
You can still say it. Nothing to say you can't say it.
No, I'll go 42-48 Leicester.
You'll be kicking yourself when it is a 10-point win, won't you? So,
Okay, Premiership on the 21st, Bellevue versus Sheffield. That's going to be an interesting one.
Again, they only rushed that basically a few weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, there's only 6 teams.
well, 5 at the moment.
Yeah, well. Sure, go, Matt.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Bellevue by 12.
I'll go. Is it my go?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go 53-37 Bellevue.
And I'm going to say Bellevue by 12 as well.
We've all agreed on a win.
Well, it's done very, very good radio when we just agree with each other.
Yeah. And on the 21st, again, Peterborough versus Ipswich. I think that's down to you, Chris.
Peterborough versus Ipswich. I'll go for a Peterborough win, 49-41.
We probably wouldn't have said that at the beginning of the season, but I'm going to say just beaten Wolves, so it's probably the strongest team at the moment. I'm going to say 12-point win to Peterborough.
I'm going to say a 20-point win to Peterborough.
It hurt that much, that loss, did it?
Yeah.
Elliot's gone 48-42 Peterborough. And Craig's gone Peterborough to win 52-38. Dave Twine's gone 60-30.
To Peterborough against Ipswich. Well, that's confidence for you. And the last one, I do beg your pardon. So this will be on the 22nd, which I believe is next Tuesday.
Yep.
So we will get the predictions for them now, but we won't find out until we're on air.
Oh.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yep.
So we have Kent versus Leicester. And I do believe it's to you, yeah.
Kent versus Leicester. I'll go for just for Ben Clifton, I'll go for a 50-38.
50-38.
50-40.
38.
I'll go 50-40 Kent.
Okay. Ooh, I'll go for Kent. Sorry, not Kingsley.
Are
Kent,
you going to let me have my go first?
Oh, was it your turn?
Yeah.
Sorry. I do apologise.
You can go if you want to. I'm going to say 45 draw. 45 all.
Well, I was going to say that. And I still will say
I
that.
know I was.
No, I'll still say that, actually. That'll be a close one. I don't think Leicester are quite as strong as they were 2019. So.
Yeah. And the last match is Plymouth versus Poole, and that's a knockout cup match. It's down to me, isn't it? I'm going to say 10 points to Poole.
I'm going to say 6 points to Poole.
I'll go 50-40 Poole. To 10 points to
10
Poole.
points. There we go. Good luck, everybody. If I'm still on the bottom of the table, I might just spit my dummy out.
And here's a glimpse of the table thus far, just so you can all see who's on the bottom. It's Mike Harris. I said Mike Harris. He's on the bottom, right? Okay. So as soon as you get, get it all totted up, Matt, can you send it to me in the week, and we'll put it up on the page as well.
I thought you said you were going to put it in the paper, sir.
But if Mike is still on the bottom, can you give it to me quicker?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Because I want to put it across to all the other groups as well.
Right, shall we catch up on some of those comments that we missed? We'll try and do our best. We've got another 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll do my best. Loved going to Bradford. Great venue, great track. Shame.
Well, there's still
That's regarding you.
Well, there is possibilities.
Bradford for big meetings, yes. I'm not completely certain about league meetings there because they didn't. I mean, to be fair, it's anybody who's been there will know it's a massive stadium, so it was probably a good crowd. It's by Speedway terms, but they just get lost in the big stadium like that.
We've got a little something else from Lawrence Rogers.
Yes, this is regarding the track and trace stuff. Apparently, there is a track and trace, and it's done on the online booking system.
Ah.
And Wendy says there is a QR code to scan at Parry Bar.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dave says nothing better than Brum versus Cradley in the old days.
I can't agree with that because they always used to beat us by a lot.
Home and away was
Home and away, yeah. It was horrible. Andrew Nelson says surely Eurosport will not be happy with 6 teams in the league. Swindon may come back, but surely 10 teams is more of a league with variety. Like, there's nothing there I can argue with, and it might be 5 teams at the moment. So,
just to update as well. I mean, we've just given the Kent Plymouth score. Everybody got the result right, but nobody got the score line right, so everybody gets an extra point for that one.
okay,
So
the
the league hasn't changed, so you're still at the bottom.
It's so sad that you're so happy about that.
So every time you're on the bottom, that's what you're going to hear.
Oh God, that's going to be there a lot then, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Is it Speedway? Is it Paul's last year of Speedway?
I hope not.
Oh, I certainly hope not. No, we can't afford to lose any money, war clubs, to be honest, can we?
We can't afford to lose any.
And going back to Friday and Saturday meetings, trouble is all Saturday tracks have gone. Coventry, Cradley, Halifax, Swindon, Bradford.
Coventry have gone twice.
Yeah. They've gone to Coventry.
Oh, Swindon used to be Saturdays. Kingsland used to be Saturdays as well. Bradford was Saturdays.
Somebody's just worked out the average age of Peterborough.
Really?
Yeah, if you go up, I just spotted it as you went up. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
The average Peterborough's average age is 38.8.
He must have Googled that because he's not that clever, Dave.
No.
Fair play to them, though. They've had a good run.
Paul Horry, we never thought of him. He's getting on a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
Had a few years out as well, so... Former Birmingham rider for, was it one corner, was it? I think.
So is that comment regarding our friend? Or what?
No.
Regarding Keyboard Warriors? Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I mean, I can read it out, but
if you can.
Yeah,
I can't really make
yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the comment, but
No, really.
why call any fan who felt a little disgruntled a keyboard warrior? This is in reference to something that Lawrence Rogers wrote in the programme on Wednesday. He says, I don't like that at all. It's a line commonly thrown around now. Decent criticism of a paying customer isn't a keyboard warrior. People who spout nasty bile are. Well, I sort of understand where you're coming from, but I think you've misinterpreted Lawrence's comments, because his comments were, and I know this, were directed to some nasty people who shouted nasty bile, even boil.
Susan's brother.
So, yeah, there you go.
The criticism is fine as long as it's constructive, isn't it? If it's just, ranting and abuse, then you just don't take any notice of it, to be honest.
I think a lot of it, especially on Speedway grips, a lot of it is I call clickbait.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It is.
I think I've always said, if you're going to put something on social media, read it first before you post it.
And I would add, don't put anything on social media that you wouldn't say to somebody in person.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is, or say in a court of law.
Yes. Craig Smee says, let's hope your comments about Speedway bouncing back in the past, and it could potentially happen again. Oxford, Bradford, Coventry could be clubs that could come back, and plenty of interest, I believe. Let's hope they do come back. We do need them back.
Oh, yeah, without doubt.
And somebody said no, Oxford didn't, so that's probably to do with my thing about the start line being in a different place to the... Okay, that's obviously a dream I had.
And Dave Twine said, I did that 38 age thing for a British Forum post last week.
Oh, right.
Well done, Dave.
Yeah, that's it. They're doing very well.
I know plenty of Speedway clubs that was like you as an accountant.
A fair few football clubs. There.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Birmingham City is one of them. And there we go. We've caught up with all our questions.
Oh, we did really well.
Yeah.
We did really well.
Timed it quite nice. And don't forget, you've still got time to participate in our competition.
Yes.
Please do. It's only for a bit of fun. And
a t-shirt.
And a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And a t-shirt.
Size small.
Not
Now you know why I'm at the bottom.
not if Mike wins it.
No.
I don't think we've got an XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX
recorded that, that'd make quite a good. Right, well, I guess we should wrap it up.
We're all done. We're all done. Yeah, it was a good one.
I just like to say we didn't get any guests in last week or this week because there was just lots of stuff to talk about, and we thought it would just be best to let you guys get the chance to vent your views, which is really what the show's always been about.
Yeah, can I just say as well, an important point this one is, obviously keep supporting your local clubs, because me and Mike obviously temporarily have potentially lost our teams through, the issues with COVID.
And if you don't, we'll come and support your club for you, and you don't want that.
Yeah. And get it out on social media. Social media.
Yeah. Tell everybody what a good time you've had at your at the Speedway Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wrong that we should be saying let us as fans promote the sport. It should be but it is what it is. Though. It is what it is, isn't it? So we need to do our bit. And on that,
and also before you say on that,
and
also please make sure you share this stream. Speedway hasn't got that many voices. Let it be one of them.
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
Can I say and on that note now?
Yeah, go.
And on that bombshell. Oh, gone all Top Gear. See you again next week. Hope your club is still with us.
Yep.
Next time we see you. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Speedway Tavern. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern.